O que tem de mais interessante no meu sentimento de amar, lutar, é o desafio de você poder estar sempre se colocando à prova o teu corpo, a tua mente. Eu acho que a luta me dá isso, me dá condições de sentir que eu posso cada vez mais.
Anderson Silva, in his prime, was widely regarded as the greatest mixed martial arts fighter that has ever lived. He put on some of the most amazing performances we ever witnessed inside the octagon.
Anderson looking to finish the fight.
Anderson's done amazing things. Rightly or wrongly, this is the greatest fighter in the world that we're talking about. I want to be able to say that I fought him and that I beat him. I think I will beat him. I think my style matches up very well, and he's going to find out.
Michael Bisping has been working and grinding towards a world title fight ever since he won the Ultimate Fighter way back on season 3.
Bisping looking to finish. It is all over.
If Michael Bisping can beat Anderson Silva, he will have realized a dream. He will have beaten a former world champion, beaten the greatest fighter the world has ever known, and done so in England. It's going to be crazy.
I am their home team, and I will win.
Eu acredito muito que essa luta é boa pro Bisping e boa pra mim também. Tô mais empolgado e com mais garra do que antigamente. Eu posso dizer que eu tô no estágio probatório para um outro nível, como lutador e como atleta.
I've always had maximum respect for Anderson Silva, but I'm going for one thing only, and that's to beat him in a mixed martial arts fight. I'm going to inflict a lot of damage on this guy, believe you me.
One of the most recognizable walkout tunes and one of the most recognizable faces in the UFC. Michael "The Count" Bisping is back home for what he has labeled as a bucket list fight against a legend. In true Bisping style, he has whipped up the war of words as this fight grew closer, and it sounds like he has done everything to make sure he gives his career best performance and topples the former champion here in London in front of his adoring fans. He has made it to our EA Sports UFC 2 prep point, available this March. Order your copy now and feel the fights.
Really excited to see Michael Bisping get this fight that he's been so determined to get throughout his whole career. He's been chasing Anderson Silva down all the way to the top of the division, and it took a fall from grace for Anderson Silva to find himself squared up against Michael Bisping in the octagon in London at the O2 Arena. And we're here at that moment right now. Michael Bisping's about to step into the octagon. It's going to be a beautiful night for him, just to be able to face Anderson Silva across the octagon and know that he had that opportunity in his hands. Now it's his job to make the most of it.
He said this week that he needs to bring his A game down. It is now or never for the perennial contender if he's to get that elusive title shot. For him, it is the biggest fight outside of a title fight right now.
You know, to be honest, I think it may even be a bigger fight than a title shot, because being the UFC middleweight champion, in my opinion, is not nearly as impressive as beating Anderson Silva at any point in his career. Anderson will always be held in high regard by martial artists and fans around the world for his abilities and his achievements. If Michael Bisping can take that away from him at this point in his career, that's really good for Michael Bisping, because that puts him that step closer to that title shot that he's been wanting so long. And to step into it with a win over Anderson Silva is going to give him all the confidence in the world.
Well, this is it. It is the time, it is the moment he has been waiting for, and he is loving being here in London. Michael "The Count" Bisping. Anderson the Spider Silva returns to London after wowing crowds here 10 years ago. He is on a quest to regain the title that he held for 7 years, and that started with his bout over Nick Diaz. He had some anxiety in that fight, but feels he is now ready to accelerate through the gears and express his capabilities again, starting with the UK's Michael Bisping.
It's a good place to start. You know, a win over Michael Bisping will just re-establish Anderson Silva's place in the division. Michael's been so consistent for so long. He's been around for as long as Anderson Silva. They made their debut in the UFC 4 days apart. So we know that he's got the same kind of experience that Anderson Silva's got. He's landed more significant strikes. He's spent more time in the octagon, but now he gets to face Anderson Silva. And that's the point where he can really turn his career towards that title shot and get close to that goal.
He has been respectful to Michael Bisping coming into London, but the war of words between them really did heat up. He has been in very good spirits in London, dancing around, having a great sing-song. But let's just take a moment to examine those stats. Most finishes in UFC history, most knockdowns in UFC history, the longest reigning middleweight champion in UFC history. What more can you say about Anderson Silva?
You don't need to say anymore. He's a record breaker. That's the bottom line. You know, he was changing the game before Conor McGregor even stepped into the game. You know, we often lose sight of these people that have been pioneers for so long. But Anderson Silva has been changing the way people look at mixed martial arts for many, many years, myself included, as well as I'm sure a lot of the people on the card today and a lot of people across the UFC roster. Anderson Silva's been an inspiration for generations. So to see him step back in here, it is an honour and a privilege for every single one of us. And Michael Bisping knows that it's an honour and privilege to be facing him. But that doesn't change the fact that he knows he's got to beat him tonight.
Anderson Silva has kept his circle a lot tighter since his losses to Chris Weidman. He really felt like certain people needed keeping around, and that is the team that you see behind him there. He's had a very good energy inside his camp leading up to this one. Been spending a little bit of time focusing on Filipino boxing, so Dan again playing with new stuff. Even in his senior years, his mind is open to martial arts.
And we saw that at the open workout. I was so surprised at how relaxed and playful he was. I mean, if you look around the guys, he had probably 7 or 8 people with him. Every single person deals with a different element of his training. You know, so he's constantly adding new stuff to his game. He's constantly working with high-level grapplers and world-class strikers of all different martial arts, from old to young. He's open to any different person that can add something to his game. So expect to see something new from Anderson Silva. He's always looking for that spectacular finish, and he's always capable of making it happen.
Great to have him here in London. Anderson the Spider Silva. So let's go over to the tail of the tape for this main event. And the former champ Silva is 40. England's Bisping, 36. Silva is taller by 1 inch and will have a 2.5 reach advantage. To set up the main event, we hand over to Andy Friedlander.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. 5 rounds in the UFC middleweight division. Scoring this fight, our 3 octagon side judges are Ben Cartledge, Jeff Mullen and Andy Roberts. And when the action begins, the referee in charge of the octagon, Mr. Herb Dean. The main event is presented by EA Sports UFC 2. The video game is available this March. Pre-order now and finish the fight. Coming live from the sold-out O2 Arena in London, England, this is the UFC, and we have the world watching. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist who holds a professional record of 28 wins and 7 losses. Standing 6 feet 1 inches tall, he weighed in at 185 pounds. Fighting out of Manchester, England, presenting the 7th ranked middleweight in the world, Michael the Count Bisping. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu fighter with a professional record of 33 wins, 6 losses and 1 no contest. Standing 6 feet 2 inches tall, he weighed in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Curitiba, Brazil, presenting the number 5th ranked middleweight in the world, Anderson the Spider Silva!
All right, gentlemen, we've been through the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions. Gonna have a clean fight. Touch gloves and let's do this.
Well, here it is, Dan. The main event of the evening. Michael Bisping versus Anderson Silva. Top of the bill here in the O2 Arena, London, England.
Ready to fight? Ready. Good.
Herb Dean is tasked with overseeing this main event, scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds in the middleweight division. As if you need reminding, Anderson Silva in the black, Michael Bisping in the white. Nights don't get bigger than this in London.
I don't even want to say anything, John. I'm right on the end of my seat right now. Anderson circling Michael Bisping. Bisping leader with the head kick to start with, but Anderson slipped out the way of it. Michael controlling the centre so far.
Silva has good memories of competing in London. He predicted that he would be the villain this evening, and that didn't bother him. He's speaking about bringing back the belt to Brazil, and he wasn't really talking about that so much when he was fighting Diaz. That obviously gave him some confidence. That 13-month layoff has really increased his hunger, and he sees Michael Bisping right in his way to getting that title shot.
He certainly looks far more relaxed. Michael Bisping just caught him with a glancing left hook that caused him to smile, and immediately he comes straight into the centre to meet Michael Bisping.
Bisping's camp have been very, very happy with the progress that he has made in this training camp. His head is in a very good space. Physically, things have gone very, very well.
Michael's constant movement makes it very difficult for Anderson Silva to settle into anything. You can see Michael's always adjusting. There's always slight movements in his head and shoulders, feints and fakes. It's very nice to watch, and it's difficult to set somebody up for something when you just don't know what they're doing. Michael Bisping pushes forward, lands a right hand, and Anderson Silva stands still.
Bisping works very well behind that jab, but he can't go chasing the Spider. It's got to be a really decent mix of pushing the pace but not being exposed at any time.
Which is so difficult against a fighter like Anderson Silva. You don't even always know you're exposed until you're unconscious. Michael Bisping swings another head kick, just misses.
March 5th from Las Vegas, Nevada, UFCFightPass.com gets your evening started from Sin City. The featured bout of the Fight Pass prelims will be a lightweight showdown between Diego Sanchez and another UFC veteran in Jim Miller. The prelims are streaming live and exclusively on UFC Fight Pass beginning at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Tickets are still available.
Fascinating battle for range right now. Both fighters just feeling out their range and their distance and seeing what they can touch their opponent with, seeing how they respond, what openings they give them, what tells they have.
Michael Bisping with the greatest number of significant strikes in UFC history.
Good work from Michael Bisping, stepping in there, landing 2 shots. Anderson's backed him up against the fence, looks a little more aggressive than normal. This potentially is the Anderson Silva we saw at the weigh-ins yesterday. Really fired up to show Michael Bisping what he's capable of.
Silva looking to set himself in position. He has the precision of a watchmaker. Bisping managed to fight himself back into the center of the octagon. And really, Dan, as the fight goes on, Bisping only gets stronger.
He does. You know, as we close into the later rounds, that's when Bisping starts to pick up his work rate. It's these early rounds that Anderson Silva is the most dangerous. When he's as unpredictable, he's not showed his card, he's not showed his game.
Discovered that it's Michael Bisping's birthday this week as well. What a present it would be to himself if he pulls out a victory here in London.
Good work from Bisping, covering distance here. He's taking his feet with him as he's stepping in, which is very important. Anderson Silva with a snap down for a second, disorientated Bisping.
Don't forget, we have extended coverage right here on UFCFightPass.com following the main event. John Anik, Dan Hardy and Caroline Pierce.
Bisping backing Anderson up to the fence. Good head movement again from Anderson Silva. Looking very confident. Again pushes Bisping back to the fence. Oh! A good shot from Bisping! Anderson looked wrong for a second, but he's fired up!
Bisping found the target very nicely indeed. Silva looking to embrace the counts, having absolutely none of that. Things are hotting up here in the O2.
Very interesting, John. 60 seconds is far too long to wait for another round.
The first thing, you need to use your legs, yeah. Don't put him against the cage. You look for the fight. You need to
good. Stay relaxed. Take a little more water. How you feel? You feel good? Good hand position? Hey, it was your round. You still at the end, all right? Don't let him bait you into bullshit. All right, you're winning this fight.
Really
right?
interesting closing to the round there. Both fighters got a little more aggressive. Both stood their ground to a certain extent. We had a nice short left hook there from Michael and another one. Staggered Anderson for a second, but then immediately Anderson Silva comes fired back. Interesting exchange at the end. Anderson walks over to embrace and Michael Bisping pushes him away.
Straight back into it then, Dan. Round number 2. Queued up by a roar from the London crowd.
Michael Bisping gaining confidence from the end of that round. Jason Perillo in his corner saying that he stole that round with the last flurry. Bisping pushing him back against the fence, trying to get him over his heels. So elusive is Anderson Silva. It's really difficult to commit 100% to anything, feeling that it may potentially miss.
What's the self-talk for a fighter, Dan, when they're faced with something like that?
You know, it's just a case of sticking to basics and being sure of your game. Michael Bisping needs to be confident in his punch placement. The hesitation will cause him to miss.
Memories of the Stephan Bonner fights are playing out in front of us.
The difference being Michael Bisping is considerably faster than Stephan Bonner. Bisping doing a good job of not playing Anderson Silva's game there, backing up off the fence, standing with his hands on his hips.
Keeping a very level head is Michael Bisping, but confidence beaming out of Anderson Silva. He looks like such an imposing figure inside that octagon. And we know all too well that this can just be finished in the click of the fingers.
Bisping's doing a good job though. You know, he's being patient. He's taking his time. He knows the later rounds are in favour of him.
And that is going to be key, Dan, as well, pushing this later on. We were speaking with Bisping's corner all this week, and they said after round number 2, that then goes into their territory.
I'm very much in agreement of that. This is good work from Michael Bisping. You know, like we were saying, John, he needs to keep the pressure on. He needs to make the octagon small and make him feel suffocated. Even if they're standing in the centre of the octagon, Michael constantly threatening to tread on his toes is really going to keep Anderson Silva in a place where he's reactive to Michael Bisping's attack.
Once again, Bisping keeping his cool, looking for openings. Trying to engineer a situation where he can land that right hand, or perhaps some of his knees that have served him very well throughout his career.
Here comes the pressure forward of Anderson Silva.
Silva seems happy to be fighting on the retreat there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Anderson Silva is because he doesn't really push forward aggressively very often, when he does it makes people freeze up. We saw it in the Stephan Bonner fight, we saw it against Forrest Griffin as well. If he can instill that kind of fear in his opponent, a lot of the time they offer him that target that he needs to expose.
And he's showing some of this Filipino boxing that he's been working on.
He's landed a couple of nice short back fists off the jab, which are a lot quicker than Michael Bisping seems to be anticipating. But again, Michael holding the centre, the stubbornness and the consistency of Michael Bisping showing through. He's not giving an inch to Anderson Silva, and he's certainly not showing him any respect that he thinks he doesn't deserve. Anderson briefly looked over at his corner for a second for confirmation of something.
Well, Michael Bisping gave them confirmation that he wasn't too impressed by it.
In typical Michael Bisping style. Good, consistent work again. Michael Bisping moves forward behind a couple of punches, lands a good low kick.
Bisping pulled in Lorenz Larkin and Mark Munoz to help prepare for Anderson Silva. Again, that very useful work by Bisping behind that jab.
Oh, and again, nice. Anderson goes down for a second. Good uppercut from Michael Bisping. Michael's pouring under pressure. Really good work from Michael Bisping here. This definitely puts him in control in this fight so far.
Bisping is looking to hit the switch on Silva. Silva seems to have cleared his head a little bit. But Bisping is in the ascendancy here in London.
He certainly feels the momentum shift.
Last 10 seconds.
Good clean punches and shots landed. Good elbows from Michael Bisping. This is exactly where Michael wants to be going into the third round.
Good defensive work at the end there from Anderson Silva to stay in the contest.
Relax right now, relax. Everybody shut up and relax. Take the air, you hold the water. Give me an ice pack. Breathe. All right, hey, listen, you're doing really well, all right? Listen, if you get this guy, okay, breathe, control yourself. Look, if he starts playing front games here, and he's leaving his shoulder plates open, I want you to rip that fucking body, all right? You're close enough to do it. I like what you did.
Você tem que antecipar mais nele, usando os dois braços. Você tem que usar mais essa mão direita direto.
Use this
Tá muito pra
right.
trás.
Use this right
Esse round não foi bom. Vamos melhorar nesse terceiro round.
You need to be better. You need to be better now.
So let's have a look at the replay of that. Michael Bisping steps in, lands a left hook to start with that rocks Anderson Silva, then follows it up with a right hook, left hook combination. Clearly Anderson Silva's stunned. Looked himself going down to the canvas, a bit of a surprised look on his face, immediately ready for the up kick. But Michael Bisping forces into his guard and finishes the round very, very strongly. A good place to be for Michael Bisping moving into the third round.
Very good spatial awareness there at the end of that round from Michael Bisping. This, Dan, is not disappointing the crowds here in London.
Not at all, not at all. This is a fantastic contest between two really talented strikers that are not scared to exchange on the feet. Anderson Silva now looks to have switched on a little more. He looks like he's got more respect for Michael Bisping now. He certainly looks like he's taking this fight a bit more seriously after that knockdown.
Well, he was conservative against Nick Diaz, but he started to loosen up as the fight went on. I mean, we talk about Michael Bisping's output going into the later rounds, but let's not forget that Anderson Silva, well, I can't remember the last time he wasn't in a 5-round fight.
Well, no, this is it, but they just don't often go 5 rounds. That's the thing with Anderson Silva. But when they have, you know, he's been consistent. I mean, look at the Chael Sonnen fight. It was the 5th round. He lost all 4 of the first rounds, and then took the last one. And took the last one with a beautiful triangle. So you can never count Anderson Silva out. But this certainly bodes well for Michael Bisping.
Enjoy live and exclusive events, original programming, and the largest MMA library on UFC Fight Pass. Download the UFC.tv app today. Anytime, anywhere. Your pass to the UFC.
Again, Michael Bisping just stubbornly standing his ground, not being shaken at all by the patience of Anderson Silva, which usually can be some fighters' undoings. Again, pushes forward. Very good at taking his feet with him is Michael Bisping. Doesn't overextend, doesn't reach with his punches, moves in well, stays balanced.
Crowd really getting behind Michael Bisping. They know how much it means to him. He has held a target on Anderson Silva's back for many, many years. And right now, he is testing his skills against one of the greatest fighters to have ever lived. And he's doing very, very well.
He is. The left hook is finding its way through. It didn't land cleanly then, but the target's certainly there. Beautiful, good strikes from both guys there. Saw the sweat ring off each other's heads.
Yeah, both of these fighters glistening under the bright lights inside the ultimate proving ground. Anderson Silva poised to strike, but the constant work rate and movement of Bisping is a riddle that he is finding fairly difficult to resolve at the moment.
Kick caught by Anderson Silva. One low kick, Michael Bisping straight back to his feet.
Big head kick from Silva.
Anderson definitely looking like he's taking this more seriously now.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt about it. Michael Bisping has been all business this week. He has got his game face on. And he is in the zone. Anderson Silva now, if you take a look geographically where he is inside the octagon, he is holding the centre a lot more now.
He certainly is. You can see the confidence having an effect on Michael Bisping, making him not necessarily hesitant, but certainly more respectful of Anderson Silva's attack. Now he feels like he's definitely planning something. Fell short just there with those shots. Anderson Silva trying to create some kind of confusion.
Yeah.
Trying to draw Michael's attention to his hands.
Yeah, looking to fashion an opening by dazzling Bisping with hand movements. But once again, when he dips, he is susceptible to be getting caught.
Oh, another good jab from Michael Bisping.
Good head movement from Silva that time as he sets up that big head kick.
Anderson pushes forward, looking for that head kick again.
He's not letting Bisping out of this space, Dan.
Michael doing a great job though of staying out of danger. I mean, I know he's on the back foot right now, but he's landing good shots as he's moving. There we go again.
Bisping trying to fight his way off of the fence. Silva is looking to close the distance, and I believe for a Muay Thai clinch.
Here comes the onslaught of Anderson Silva. Michael's lost his mouth guard, but Anderson Silva does not care. He's pushing forward in typical Anderson Silva style. There's the Thai clinch. Bisping ready.
Done.
Oh! Jumping knee! Michael goes down!
But that is the buzzer. The buzzer has sounded.
Fight's not over. Fight's not over.
Herb Dean is saying the fight is not over.
No.
Michael Bisping, I have to say, Dan, he needs to protect himself at all times. And he was looking at his mouthpiece.
Michael was distracted then by the referee. He was asking for his mouthpiece. Anderson Silva is convinced that this fight is over, but Herb Dean is saying it's not.
Well, now that's Michael Bisping.
The fight's not over. He goes to his corner. The fight's not over. I never called the fight.
The fight's not over. Michael Bisping is on his chair. His corner should be allowed in.
So he can go to your corner.
The officials weren't letting the cornerman in. There was obviously some confusion. But now Bisping has seen his cornerman, Jason Perillo. He knows he is still in the game.
Very confusing at the end there. So what happened was Michael Bisping was backing up, looking to the referee to try and get his mouthpiece put back in place, but obviously you can't take your eyes off your opponent.
And interestingly, Dan, because of the confusion, there is no cutman working on Bisping.
Michael Bisping does not look himself. He looks dazed, he looks confused. Anderson Silva thought that fight was won and he was already celebrating. But now you've got to expect Anderson Silva to charge forward and try and get this fight won immediately. That jumping knee put Bisping on bad street. He was definitely hurt. But now the fight started again and Michael Bisping is back to pushing forward, although his head surely has not been cleared from that jumping knee.
Well, Bisping is maintaining range versus Anderson Silva, who is circling the octagon. Silva's, in doing that, is giving Bisping time.
See, not only can Anderson Silva create chaos in the fight, he can create chaos in the arena as well. Like, nobody knew what was happening. Anderson Silva immediately took charge then and declared the fight was over. Fair play to Herb Dean for standing his ground and making this fight continue.
It got so very loud in here. I mean, I didn't hear that final bell.
There's some definite damage to Michael Bisping's nose, but that does not seem to be deterring him at all. He almost seems annoyed at how that last round ended.
You need some time?
Shot was fired a little low.
Watch the
crown jewels of Michael Bisping. It's got up to 5 minutes to recover.
I have to say it, John, we saw it in the Rockhold fight as well. Michael Bisping being distracted by the referee more than necessary. You have to stay focused on your opponent. Yeah. This is a fight, and unless the referee is in front of you or the bell has sounded, you've got to be prepared for whatever's coming at you, including a flying knee from Anderson Silva.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's the low blow. Anderson Silva looking for an inside low kick to upset Bisping's balance, but it did catch him high.
Bisping fights on. What a war we have here in London. Bisping forcing Silva's shoulders up against the fence.
Michael Bisping is not giving Anderson Silva an inch here. Although Anderson Silva looks like he's playing, Michael Bisping is landing shots here.
Popping and weaving is Silva. Popping and nailing is Bisping. Setting up that big right hand is Michael Bisping. But Silva seems to be happy in this stationary position. He has an opportunity to move out of that space.
I have to wonder whether this is part of that Filipino boxing style that he's been adopting. You know, we saw him against Stephan Bonner doing this as well. Very much a Wing Chun style of parrying and countering, like a Bruce Lee Jeet Kune Do effort.
Exactly that.
Oh, good work by Michael Bisping. His hands are very fast, and Anderson just doesn't seem to be able to keep up with him. Jason Perillo asking Michael Bisping to start working the body. If Anderson's standing square to him, start thundering at that solar plexus and see if we can take the fight out of him that way.
Anderson Silva is not fighting to win points on the scorecards.
He's not. He's looking for the big highlight reel finish. And that could be the pressure of Anderson Silva, feeling that that's what everybody expects of him when he's in there. People do expect the big finish. They do expect the flamboyance and the flashiness. And that was his undoing against Chris Weidman. But he seems to be playing that game again here against Michael Bisping, and that could be a bad tactic. You know, we're in the fourth round now. Although Michael Bisping suffered a good knee in that last round, he's still pushing forward here.
The crowd getting behind their home fighter here at the O2 Arena. John Gooden in commentary with Dan Hardy. An absolute honour to be calling this battle.
Anderson really looking to catch, counter and to parry. Some really nice hand fighting going on here.
You okay? Watch your fingers. Can you see? Do I need to bring the doctor in? Yeah. Okay.
I think there might be some mind games being played now, John.
Yeah.
There was an eye poke to Anderson Silva. Oh yeah, there it is. Bisping reaches the palm out to stop his forward advance. Everyone trying to fire Michael Bisping up here. roars and stamps of feet around the arena.
Take your time.
His corner have reminded him that he is in the 4th round. That's the Bisping corner. Whilst Anderson Silva was getting some attention to his eye, or at least having his eye examined, I should say, to be accurate.
And if anyone has an appreciation for that, is Michael Bisping, understanding the the pain of eye pokes.
Yes, indeed.
Oof. Again, Michael Bisping stepping into the pocket.
And he had one of Anderson Silva's gloves whistle past his chin. That spearing jab of Bisping been so very successful this evening. He's worked so diligently behind it. Forcing Silva back against the fence once again. Bisping focusing very much on his own assault stand.
This is exactly what we expected Michael Bisping to do. He knows that this is how he wins the fight. It's so difficult to press forward at Anderson Silva. He plays so many tricky games. Lots of head movement and hand movement and distraction techniques. But Michael Bisping is finding his range here. Anderson Silva not giving himself the options to move away when he's up against the fence. And now immediately the tables have turned and it's Anderson Silva pushing forward. Beautiful shots. A right hook left straight from Anderson Silva. Good head movement here. Possibly looking to find the finish towards the end of this round. A good knee. Michael Bisping pushes him off.
Silva in a kind of Muay Thai-esque style, building up flurries.
Oh, there was that upward elbow that he knocked out Tony Strickland with, and a short left elbow comes over the top. Lands good shots against Michael Bisping.
Upward angled straight right, followed by a big left from Silva, and now he's got Bisping pressed against the fence. Superman punch to see out the round. Fans inside the arena on their feet applauding these warriors.
We're winning this fight. 3, take a little water. That was 4, we got 1 more to go, okay? Listen, we're still going to win this fight, Mike. Listen.
So let's take a look to the end of the 3rd round, Dan, with that controversy. And a lot of credit here should be given to Herb Dean to have maintained control of the situation.
Definitely. So there goes the mouthpiece of Michael Bisping. Immediately it points to it. And Anderson Silva sees that distraction. He starts to put the pressure on Michael Bisping. Herb Dean's got the mouthpiece in his hand right now and he's waiting for an opportunity to put that in. Michael's distracted by the referee, and as soon as that happens, Anderson jumps forward and lands that jumping knee and starts to celebrate. You've got to think there's got to be an adrenaline dump there. He was on the cage, he was celebrating, he was winning the fight, he was enjoying that victory, and immediately he's back into the fight. It took him a few minutes to refocus himself, but at the end of that round he started to push forward again. It's all to play for in this round. Anything can happen. It's becoming a very dramatic affair, John. I'm so honoured to be sat ringside for this.
5th and final round here in London. Anderson Silva versus Michael Bisping. Luke Rockhold very close to the action, checking out this fight.
We can see Michael, he's marked up, he's bloody. There's some damage to his nose. We can see some marks on Anderson Silva, but for the most part he looks fairly clean. There's a small trickle of blood coming from the left eye, but Anderson Silva is the one that's been doing the more damaging work. A beautiful high kick there, partially blocked by Michael Bisping.
Did that behind his left hand very nicely.
As he did against Yushin Okami. Bisping clearing his eye. Has to stay focused on Anderson Silva here. Can't be distracted by anything else. Michael pushes forward. Again pushes forward. Anderson's nowhere to be found other than the low kick. An aggressive Anderson Silva looking for that finish. Fires the high kick.
Puts it behind the left hand. That is a combination that's working for him. Silva's looking very fresh indeed coming into this final round.
Good jab from Michael Bisping.
Snap back the head of the spider. Nice head movement from Anderson. A lot of blood escaping the face of Michael Bisping.
I think we may have a check here for the cut of Michael Bisping. It seems to be bothering him a little bit. Let's bring the doctor in and Let's see what he's got to say. Do you want to continue? Of course you want to continue. Are you Michael Bisping? Of course you want to continue. Here he goes again. We're almost there. Round of applause for Anderson Silva and a show of respect for both guys.
Finally.
Well, I think they've earned it from each other right now. 3:30 left in the round. Everyone is perched on the edge of their seat. Michael Bisping really struggling with that nose and that cut on the bridge of the nose.
Some urgency being displayed by Anderson Silva. He almost took a couple of rounds off, certainly for the lion's share of a couple of rounds.
Oh! Front kick from Anderson Silva! Michael Bisping was rocked but stays on his feet. Anderson Silva closes the range, 3 minutes to go.
Bisping is hurt.
A knee from Anderson Silva, another knee from Anderson Silva. Looks for the tie clinch. Bisping is in retreat, firing warning shots.
He's coming back, trying to fight his way off of the fence. Anderson Silva once again sinks in that knee.
Oh! Beautiful inside turning kick
from Silva.
Anderson now becoming very creative, very relaxed. Michael Bisping trying to land the good shots as he's backing up, but Anderson Silva is like an avalanche pouring forward onto Michael Bisping now. A brief moment's respite, but you've got to help. You can't help but feel that Anderson Silva's setting something up.
Michael Bisping has never needed to watch his defences more in his career than he does in this final 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
It's really difficult to know how the judges are scoring it, especially with that controversy at the end of the third round. But neither fighter is backing up here. Michael Bisping is giving ground, but he's still in the fight. He's still firing forward.
He knows he is close. He knows he's landed a great many shots on Anderson Silva. But Silva knows he has a wounded Bisping in front of him.
Anderson looks like he's measuring.
Anderson Silva has some of the most beautiful techniques in his locker.
Michael Bisping shoots for a takedown. Does he get it against Anderson Silva? You can see the grimace on Silva's face as he's trying to defend that takedown, and he denies Bisping.
Michael Bisping is really in the mood today. Is this his defining career performance? Will Anderson Silva pull something out the bag here? He has under 1 minute to clock up a few more points.
We're moving into the last 45 seconds of the round now. Anderson Silva's still playing games.
Bisping needs to keep his hands up, and Anderson Silva needs to find an opening. That front kick looked very good earlier.
It did, it was very close.
Look how creative he is even deep into this fight.
It's so difficult to put any kind of combinations together for Michael Bisping right now. He's pushing forward with the jab, but to commit to anything more could be too risky at this point in the fight. 15 seconds to go. It's so difficult to know how the judges have scored it. It's so difficult to know which fighter needs to invest their time here and their energy in this last 10 seconds.
Bisping revs up his efforts towards the final bell, and it is met by a huge cheer from the London crowd. Let us pause for a moment to reflect on this fantastic main event. Anderson Silva travelled over from Brazil to face Michael the Count Bisping. He has wanted this fight for so long. He finally got to measure his skills against the legend. Let's take a look at some of the action from that final round.
Michael Bisping keeping the pressure on throughout the fight. Anderson Silva landing the cleaner, more devastating shots, but the consistency of Michael Bisping. It's difficult to know how to score this one. I mean, the front kicks were beautiful. The counter jabs were very nice from Anderson Silva. but he was backed up a lot of the time. He did land punch, he did take shots at the end of Michael Bisping's range. He was dropped a couple of times early on in the fight, he was stunned, he was dazed. Michael Bisping had a good run of ground and pound for a second, but so much has happened in 25 minutes. Where do you go from here? Where do you take this fight?
Well, it lies in the hands of the judges here in London. There is no one in the O2 Arena that is sat down. Everyone in it eagerly awaits those scorecards to be collected so we can discover who has been victorious in this main event. Bisping wearing some additional facial furniture there. He has definitely been in a fight. Anderson Silva, too, with some swelling. We are moments away from discovering the winner. Let's throw it back inside to Andy Friedlander.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. All 3 judges have scored this contest 48-47. For the winner, by unanimous decision, Michael the Count Bisping!
So Bisping celebrating with his family.
For Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping, was that not the best performance of your career, sir?
I don't know. All I know is I've wanted this fight my entire life. Because of you guys, you give me the power. I'm just a guy from a very normal background, and you guys have been in my corner every time. Thank you so much. My family, Rebecca, my mum and dad, everybody, this means so much to me. I don't know what to say, I'm fucking crying.
Just give me a couple of words about that 3rd round. There was a lot of confusion, a lot of controversy. Did you manage to clear your head, and what were your thoughts on what went down?
Yeah, you know, anytime you get hit in the face and it does this to you, you kind of have to take a second to gather your thoughts. Listen, things were said between me and Anderson. I worship this guy. This guy is the greatest martial artist of all time. That's why I'm so emotional right now. This has been a lifelong quest. Anderson, I know I said things. The respect I have to you, for you, you cannot measure. You cannot measure. You inspired me. When I started, I was a young, cocky kid, saying things I regret. And the whole time I was looking at this guy thinking, wow, I want to be like that guy. Anderson, thank you. Everybody here, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here now. Thank you all.
So where does Michael Bisping go from here? Talk about the middleweight division and talk about your place in it.
I think I go see a doctor for a second, and then maybe a beer. Listen, I've always wanted a shot. I don't know, I thought I'd do better than this. I didn't think my face would look like this at the end of it, I'll tell you that. You guys give me the strength, you give me the power. I do this for my family, but I also do it to represent Great Britain. I really do. Honestly, thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Bisping, say a few words.
I know I always say it, honestly, but truly, when I first walked into Manchester at UFC 70, all you guys blew my mind. It blew my mind, and it still blows my mind now. Really, truly, thank you.
Make some noise! Michael the Count Bisping!
I've got to thank these guys. This guy in particular, Jason Perillo, he's been in my side. But Scott Prohaska, Darren Morris, Brady Fick, these guys have been with me forever. Paradigm Sports Management, and most of all, Rebecca, Callum, Ellie and Lucas. I love you so much.
Very much the family, man. Let's have a few words with Anderson the Spider Silva. Obviously frustrating, the decision didn't go your way. It was a very dramatic, very emotional fight.
Clean the mic for me. Thanks. It's a bloodier area. We don't mind. Talk about the decision. Talk about the fight. Beautiful show of respect. You can see that you command a lot of respect throughout mixed martial arts, and every single person, even the people that fight you, they look up to you so much. Where does Anderson Silva go from here? What do you need to prove now?
I need to say thank you for everything. Thank you to the people in London coming to here for watching the fight. So, I'm very happy because I'm back to London. For a long time I don't come here or see my friends. Thank you, people in London, everything. Thank you for everything. Thank you for helping me, for coming to here. And thank you my team, Tino Nogueira, Mestre de la Riva, Marco, Mestre Dória, Feijão. Brasil! A parada é a seguinte, não tem como vencer de um jeito, eles tentam tirar do outro. É isso aí. Vocês viram como que foi, né? Então, não tem nada pra falar, lutei por vocês. E é isso, gente. Obrigado pelo apoio. Minha família, tô voltando pra casa, tô bem. E é isso aí. Missão cumprida, missão dada, mas de vez em quando é que nem no Brasil. Corrupção total.
He basically said, Brazil, you know, what can you do, man? You saw the fight. I thought it went differently, and mission was given. I want to thank everybody that was here, thank all my coaches, my teams, and the mission was given, and I thought the mission was completed, but I guess not.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was a very dramatic fight.